Did Islam come to India by the sword?
This land now falls under the shadow of the Timurid Banu law.
Or did it arrive silently through trade, marriage, and mystics?
50 dinars for the finest black gold.
I offer 30. Load it onto the ship.
We have fresh sandalwood arriving this hour.
When people discuss the arrival of Islam in India, the conversation often begins with the Mughal invasion.
Charge! Break through the gates! Forward, men! Forward!
However, historical evidence shows that Islam reached parts of the Indian subcontinent before any Islamic empire was established in India. This video examines the earliest phase of Islam's presence in India, not through rulers or armies, but through trade networks along the western coast.
50 dinars for the finest black gold.
I offer 30. Load it onto the ship.
We have fresh sandalwood arriving this hour.
Coast, particularly in present-day Kerala. Understanding this early phase is important because it explains how Islam could spread in some regions without political power or military conquest. Trade between India and Arabia existed long before the rise of Islam. Classical Greek and Roman records, including the Periplus of the Erythraean Sea, describe regular maritime trade between the Malabar coast and the Red Sea. Arab merchants frequently visited Indian ports, such as Muziris, Kollam, and Calicut. They traded pepper, spices, pearls, and textiles, and many lived for extended periods along the Indian coast. This means that Arab communities were already present in India when Islam emerged in the 7th century. Islam did not create new trade routes, it traveled along routes that already existed. Islam's origin is a duality of historical fact and eternal faith. Historically, it emerged in 610 CE, when the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, received his first divine revelations near Mecca. This began a mission to restore monotheism. Theologically, Muslims believe Islam is the primordial faith. They regard Adam, peace be upon him, as the first prophet, followed by a lineage including Abraham, Moses, and Jesus, peace be upon them all. Muhammad, peace be upon him, is the final messenger, perfecting the original message. Within a few decades of Islam's emergence, Muslim traders who had accepted Islam continued their commercial activities across the Indian Ocean. There is no historical evidence of military expeditions to India during the lifetime of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Instead, historical consensus suggests that Muslim merchants introduced Islamic beliefs and practices through personal interaction. They prayed openly,
Allahu Akbar.
followed Islamic ethical principles in trade, and established small Muslim communities. Through these interactions, news about a new monotheistic religion in Arabia, Islam, began to circulate along the Malabar coast. According to historians, the Chera ruler became curious about these reports after hearing descriptions from Arab merchants. Some versions of the traditional accounts mention a celestial event associated with the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, which further sparked the ruler's interest. The Chera ruler decided to travel westward to learn more about this new faith. The ruler sailed across the Arabian Sea, likely landing in southern Arabia, in present-day Oman or Yemen, before continuing inland. The Chera ruler met the Prophet Muhammad in Arabia and accepted Islam. After his conversion, he is said to have taken the name Tajuddin. After a few days, he was instructed to return to India. Malik bin Dinar and other companions were sent along with him. The ruler never completed his return journey to India. He is said to have fallen ill in southern Arabia, often identified as Zafar, near modern-day Salalah, Oman. If you visit the site today, you will find a grave identified by local tradition as that of Cheraman Juma, which locals have guarded for over 1,000 years. Before his death in the distant sands of Zafar, the Cheraman ruler realized he would never see the green shores of his homeland. But his mission lived on. With his final strength, he composed a series of royal letters addressed to the chieftains and governors of Kerala. He entrusted these letters, sealed with the royal signet of the Paramal, to Malik bin Dinar and his companions. When the ships finally reached the Malabar coast, Malik bin Dinar did not arrive as a stranger seeking a place to hide. He arrived as the bearer of a king's last command. The local rulers, seeing the familiar seal of their departed sovereign, received the travelers with the highest honor.
He presented the royal decree of the Cheraman Perumal. Recognizing the seal, the chieftain rose, honoring the sacred duty.
They followed the Paramal's instructions to the letter, providing the land, the finest teak wood, and the protection of the state. It was through this act of royal friendship that the Cheraman Juma Masjid was born in 629 CE.
The king's order. The boundary is accurate.
A monument of faith built upon a foundation of trust. Archaeological and inscriptional evidence confirms that mosques existed in Kerala much earlier than in most parts of India. The Muslims of Kerala were not conquerors. They were sailors, merchants, navigators, known today as Mappilas. They spoke the local language. They respected local customs. They dressed like their neighbors. Islam here did not erase culture. It adapted. Mosques used wooden roofs, oil lamps, and architecture inspired by temples. The call to the prayer rose over coconut trees and backwaters. No borders were redrawn. No kingdoms fell. Faith spread quietly, generation by generation. How was this possible? Because Indian society already understood diversity. Kerala was home to Hindus, Buddhists, Jains, Jews, and Christians long before Islam arrived. The Jewish community of Cochin had lived there for centuries. St. Thomas Christians trace their roots to the 1st century. Islam was not an intruder into a closed world. It entered an open one. And because traders depended on trust, honesty was survival. Cheating ended trade. Violence ended business. So Islam's earliest image in India was not power, but principle. This is important. The story of Islam in Kerala is not the same as the story of Islam in North India. No sultans ruled Kerala. No Islamic empire controlled it. Islam here grew without state power, which proves one thing clearly. Islam did not come to India through one single path. It arrived differently in different regions. Trade in the south, politics in the northwest, mysticism across the heartland. History is not a slogan, it is a mosaic. Before swords appeared in textbooks, before debates filled television studios, Islam had already found a home in India, in the rhythm of waves, in honest trade, in shared meals. On the shores of Kerala, Islam arrived not as a ruler, but as a neighbor. And this was only the beginning, because soon another door would open, not through the sea, but through the land. Sind, 711 CE, a young general, a different story.
Release the captives, or I shall unleash a storm your walls cannot withstand.